All right, this question is earlier to number 2. It write a multiplication expression in which the product is less than both of its factors. So you want to come up with two numbers that when multiplied together give you a product or an answer that is smaller than either one of those numbers when you started. What we learned from doing question number 2 was that if you want your product to be smaller, you have to have two factors that are less than 1. So basically what you do is you go through all of these numbers and you figure out which ones are smaller than 1. This is an improper fraction. 7/4 is greater than 4/4, which is equal to 1. So that is more than 1. That's not what we're looking for. This one, 1/5, is definitely less than 1 whole. We're going to want to use 1/5. 6 is bigger than 1. We don't want to use 6. 4/4 is the same thing as 1. 1 is not bigger than 1, so we don't want to use that one either. 4/9 is less than 1. That's another good candidate for putting right here as part of our expression. But we've got to work through the rest of them to make sure. 4/3 is greater than 3/3, which is equal to 1. So 4/3 is more than 1, and we don't want to use that. 7/8. We could also use this one. 7/8 is a perfectly good number to put in there because it is less than 1. And 3 is bigger than 1. So any combination of these three amounts. You could do 1/5 times 7/8. Let's see, the product needs to be less than both of its factors. 7/8 is pretty close to 1. When we multiply that together, we're not sure if that's going to be less than 1/5. Let's find out. We've got 7/40 as we multiply the numerators and then the denominators, and that can't be reduced. So let's compare 7/40. We want to know if it's greater than, less than, or equal to 1/5. 1/5, we're going to want to make an equivalent fraction with 40 in the denominator. And it's been a while, but this is when we do the football coach thing. 5 times 8 is 40. So then 1 times 8 is going to be 8. 1/5 is equal to 8/40. So this amount is actually less than the original amount. That works. So possible combinations. 1/5 times 7/8. That one works. Let's try another one, and I'm going to have to make myself some more space on the screen here. Let's remind ourselves of basically what I just erased, which is that 3 of these amounts are less than 1. That would be 1/5, 4/9, and 7/8. Let's try 4/9 times 7/8. 4 times 7 is 28. 9 times 8 is 72. So we have 28/72. We're going to want to reduce that. Let's start by dividing out a 2. 28 in half is 14. Let me switch colors to keep it straight. We have 14 over 72 divided by 2 is 36. And we can pull another 2 out of there. Divide each side, the top and the bottom, by 2. Then we're left with 7. Half of 36 is 18. 7/18. Let's see. We want to make sure that that is less than 4/9. All right, so 4/9 is greater than, less than, or equal to 7/18. To do this, we're going to have to convert 4/9 into 18ths. So we'll times the top and the bottom by 2. There we go, times 2. And that gives us 8/18, which is greater than 7/18, which tells us that the product is smaller than both of them. So this is a perfectly good one also. Let's clean this up a little bit so that we can do the final combination of two fractions. Good. So we have 4/9. Do that a little better here. 4/9 times 7/8 is a perfectly valid answer. And the one that we haven't done so far is going to be what? 1/5 times 4/9. Those two are both pretty small relative to 7/8. And we want to see if the number that we get when we're done is smaller than either one of them. So let's work that through. We're going to have 4/9. We're going to multiply it by 1/5. And we want to make sure that the answer is smaller than, well, 1/5 is the smallest of the two. So we'll multiply across the top, and we'll get 4. We'll multiply across the bottom, and we'll get 45. 4/45 is going to be less than 1/5. How do I know? Well, let's go ahead and check. Let's put 1/5 into 45ths. 1/5 equals how many 45ths? Well, let's multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. 5 times 9 is 45. And 1 times 9 is 9. So 9/45 is what 1/5 is the same as. And we got 4/45. So we're good. All we want to do is also write that here on the top as one of the 3 possible correct answers. 1/5 times, what were we even doing? 4/9. So that's a combination of every one of the fractions listed in the box that have a value of less than 1 are all correct answers.